Yeah, okay, sir. We can start, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah, very good morning to everyone. On behalf of Manimalar Engineering College, management, principal, all HODs and staff members, and Institute Innovation Council, Vice President, President, and all the coordinators and conveners, I welcome everyone for the workshop on entrepreneurship and innovation as a career opportunity. I extend my warm welcome to our beloved resource person, Dr.M.SUBRAMANIAM, Professor, Department of Computer Science and Engineering, SRM Institute of Science and Technology. I welcome you, sir.
Thank you.
Now I hand over the session to Subramaniam, sir.
Thank you, Dr. P.J. Satish Kumar, for your invitation. Thanks for giving me the opportunity in your entrepreneur cell at Manimalar Engineering College. So upon the request of Dr. P.J. Satish Kumar, so I would like to handle a small session on entrepreneurship and innovation as a career opportunity. So this is the topic that given to me. So where I should present. So I have given a very limited time, and so I'll present now directly go to the topic of entrepreneurship. So what do you mean by an entrepreneur? So we'll start with a small definition of entrepreneur. So entrepreneur is nothing but a person with innovation. So here our title says entrepreneurship and the innovation as career opportunity. So what we can say here is entrepreneur himself is a innovator. And another meaning that comes associated with the entrepreneur is a risk taker. So that is what we can say. So what do you mean by a risk? The second question. A risk is nothing the probability of getting into failures. So that is risk. So an entrepreneur is nothing but a risk taker. So let us go in detail step by step while becoming how to become an entrepreneur and how to take a risk and how we can resolve those risks by the method of innovation when we do take the entrepreneur and innovation as our career and what are all the various opportunity threats in the society, right? So as I said earlier, entrepreneurship can be defined as someone's willingness to take higher risk and organize, manage, and develop a business organization in a market that constantly evolves. That is most important. Entrepreneurship is defined as taking willingness to take the higher risk. Willingness. So necessarily he want to take higher risk. Necessarily he want to invest his time and energy and knowledge and experience on risk. So once if you are bold enough to take risk, higher risk, there you can succeed. When you avoid taking risk in your life, you degrade yourself and you cannot progress in your life. So that is the crux of the entrepreneur. That is the crux of any human being's success, right? So the entrepreneurship can be defined someone's willingness to take higher risk and When he takes a higher risk, then he should possess the higher managerial activity, managerial potentiality he must have. He must able to organize. He must able to manage the situation. He must able to study the current market situation and develop a business organization, a business model in the market, in the society, in the competitive society, right? So when you are successful in developing a organization which you can able to manage it and then in an organized way, then only you can say that you can evolve constantly, you can sustain constantly. So the most important thing is you should have a potentiality in managing the activity with innovations. So innovations has to react to the environment and the society that constantly you sustain in the market. So that is entrepreneurship, right? So even though when you are a good entrepreneur or a manager, even after organizing and developing organization, developing the business organization or developing your own strategy um, uh, to organize a business, and you constantly when the constant declines, so when the market situation declines for you, then slowly it implies that you are getting into the risk. You're getting into a risk. The reason for that is constant updation of the society and the social changes is required. The constant updation of the social changes and the changes that is required by the publics or the customers need to be analyzed very keenly in order to avoid the risk. So the major problem of facing the risk is when you fail to organize or update yourself in the changing needs of the customer, then it implies that you are declining on the risk side, right? So we should be very careful in taking the risk. So when you have taken risk, then the risk is always associated with when you want to become when you make want to make the risk in the positive direction. That is, when you want to avoid the risk, then the amount of effort that is required for you to sustain in the market is very high. The amount of effort that you need to put is very high, should be very high. But so that is the main theme of the entrepreneurship, right? Coming to the second point, generally the innovators, the inventors, the leaders, and the pioneers are the entrepreneurs. The innovators, inventors, leaders, and pioneers are entrepreneurs. Now, the innovation. What do you mean by the innovation? Something new. May not be as Columbus discovered America, as Einstein, Albert Einstein, uh, or some other Marconi invented a radio or something like that. Innovation is something that a new idea or an idea that you are framing, a new idea that you are framing to adapt a strategy, that strategy which leads to a successful business, that leads to a successful business which generates revenue for you, only then we call it as successful. So that is innovation, a new strategy. So how you are distinguishing your strategy with others, how you are distinguishing a strategy of doing business with the existing uh, entrepreneur. So that is the innovation. That is innovation. And another part, innovation also can be a form of product, a new product. So that the new products, how you are marketing it, the new product, all of a sudden a new product you cannot sell. The people don't accept the new product. Then you have to market it. So such kind of innovations, it should be very easy for the people or the customers to use, and it should make the customers more comfortable to use the product. So that is innovations. New strategy of selling your product is innovations, right? So the inventors, the leaders, and pioneers. right? So the inventors is nothing but the people who invent the new products. The leaders are nothing but the managerial people who having the highest capacity to organize the teams, right? Organize the things, organize your organization, your thing. So that is the leaders and the pioneers. So our experts, they can only become the entrepreneurs. Yes. So generally, an entrepreneurs have these capacities. That is innovations. They will be default. The innovators, the inventors, and there will be a leaders, and there are the expert. Even though the entrepreneurs is a simple term, but it is not so simple as what we think. So it holds the major five bulletins are the potentialities among them. That is innovations, inventor, and you'll be a leader, the pioneer, right? Next, we can say the entrepreneurs is a process of entrepreneurs' action in search of something new, such as thinking about gaining profitable opportunities by accepting the risk and taking their enterprise to the higher level, right? So two things in the third point, right? So they go in search of something new, right? So while in their move, they could face a lot of risk, a lot of failure. So after overcoming these aspects, they take their business aspects into the higher level and they succeed. So that is why we can say that the entrepreneur is the process of entrepreneur's action in the search of something new, such as thinking about gaining profitable opportunities. So the opportunities which will lead them to make a profit, gaining profitable opportunities, by accepting the risk and taking their enterprises to the higher level. Right? Entrepreneurs makes things happen. Yes. How? Take risks. Entrepreneurs make things happen. What they think it should happen in reality. What they think it should happen in reality. So they will make the things happen. It is not that simply they will attempt it and then they will move after facing the failure. So they will attempt, they will keep attempting until they succeed in doing that. That is why we give the title Entrepreneurs Make Things Happen. They are individuals who can take a concept and convert it into a reality, right? The individual person. So that much level of confidence they have with him. They are individuals who take a concept, simple concept, a concept by thinking a small concept, and they will enlarge or they will magnify the concept in order to succeed in the market. So they are individuals who take the concept and they convert into a reality, convert into the real time, convert into reality. That reality will sustain in the society and which will bring them the fame and bring them the profit for their business, right? So the continuous effort. So they are individuals who take a concept and convert it into a reality, a product, a policy, or institution. Institution is nothing but a constitution of some strategy, a constitution of a strategy or a law or a rule for which they adopt for doing the business, a policy or institution, right? A product. So they become the champions of a new process and they are engines of change. So, right? They become the champions of the new process.
Sir, sorry for
Yes,
the
Satish?
disturbance, sir.
Anything?
Sir, your screen
Yes.
stopped sharing, sir.
Oh, I see. I do
Uh,
not know. I why?
no,
Is
someone
it
in the
now?
team had started presenting, sir, so it got disconnected from your side. It's not nothing from your side.
Oh, I see.
You
So,
start presenting now again, sir.
so you want me to start it from the? I wanted to close, and then you
No,
start. Wait,
no,
let
sir.
me
There is
check.
an option called start presenting, so you can do that.
Okay, already it is in the sharing mode. Let me check once again. So it shows me that you are presenting, and
Sir.
I think right. So is the screen? So is resume presenting?
Yes, sir. Now it is okay,
Is
sir.
my screen is visible?
Now it is visible,
Right,
sir.
fine.
It is
Thank
perfect.
you.
You can go on, sir. Thank you.
Yes, yes. So if you find any time my screen gets interrupted, kindly inform me. Otherwise, I will presume that my screen is visible to everyone. Right.
No, no,
So
sir,
they become the
it
champions of the
happened
new
just
process. Okay, okay, okay. Thank you. So they become the champions of the new process. So what do you mean by the champions? What's the new process? So when they succeed in their business strategies, so when we call it them as a successful champions, when we call them as champions, when they are successful in bringing the profit for their business, so then only we call them as the champions of the new process. So their framework, their policy, which led them to bringing the new profit for their business. So that is the champions of the new process, and they are engines of the change. So they are the engines of the change. The changes that has happened to the society is because of their new process development. That is, they become the champions of the new process and they are engines of the change. Entrepreneurships occur in all areas of life, in business, right? So everywhere, wherever you see, it is only an entrepreneur's life, right? Even we work for an environment, our owners are entrepreneur. In a business, you do business, so that is an entrepreneur. Everyone is having a skills, the inbuilt skill. So there is nothing and a separate term or a separate person you call it as an entrepreneur. Everyone is an entrepreneur in their own way or other, right? So it doesn't mean that entrepreneur must always invest some money and then they buy some product or they create some product and they sell the product in the market and then they get a profit for that. It's not like that. You see, if you think deeply, everyone is an entrepreneur. For example, see, I'm a teacher, come entrepreneur. So you cannot, don't get surprised at how a teacher be an entrepreneur, whether Subramaniam is doing some other job. It is not like that. See, it is one of the marketing strategy. It is one of the marketing strategies that I use for presenting my ideas to all. And probably if I market my product, my presentation in a very neat way, then probably I may be invited for a different session to a different institution or the different people. So that's all. Right? If you think deeply, say everyone is an entrepreneur. Everyone is an entrepreneur. Right? So we take a very less risk. That's all. But you take it in a competitive way in doing in marketing yourself. That's all. Right? So anything you, I mean, your wife is your wife is an entrepreneur, and your children are entrepreneur. Everyone are an entrepreneur, right? So that is the entrepreneurs occurs in areas, all areas of life, in business, in academy, all right, in government, everywhere, everybody. You know, when you present yourself, when you project yourself in such a way that you wanted to go reach the next level, move to the next level, then you are applying the entrepreneurship skills, right? So that is why we call it as entrepreneur sectors in all areas of life, in business, in academy, in government, and in non-government organization, NGOs. We call them as NGOs, right? Entrepreneurs are everywhere, in wall, street, within you, everywhere. Entrepreneurs can be used for good and evil, right? So you can see a lot of business people, they use it for their good purpose and they use it for their evil purposes. But our objective, so the entrepreneurship can be used for good and evil. But what we are practicing for the society and what we so for the society is more important. So that is entrepreneurs can be used for good and evil. Entrepreneurs can be encouraged and promoted. Entrepreneurs can be encouraged and promoted. So not only entrepreneurs, the encouragement has to be done for all, right? So even if one want to become a good singer, most of the time we will encourage, right? We will discourage anything, any event or any people who are doing something independently. When you encourage, and definitely in due course of time they will become pioneers in that field. But the major mistake or the problem with us is we don't encourage them. We don't encourage them. So that is the problem which makes them disappointed and then discouraged from becoming pioneer in that field. So, right. So we use the term encouraged here in the entrepreneur. So any business people or any entrepreneur. So we need to encourage, continuously motivate them, and only then they will get promoted to the next level. And then by encouraging, what happens? So instead of becoming by becoming a successful entrepreneur in 100 days, and your encouragement and your promotion, your motivation may make them to become a successful entrepreneur in maybe half the period, or one-fourth of the total period. So anything that is being encouraged, openness to new ideas, freedom from investigation of operation and the promotion and the pay, right? Freedom from investigation of operation. So they should be given more freedom. What freedom? From investigation of operation, right? So, and we should not restrict them in any aspects. So freedom has to be given comfortably. They should feel that when they start a business venture, and they should feel comfortable to do any kind of things. They should come out with the new ideas. Any kind of ideas has to be encouraged. Promotions, then that need to be promoted, and the promotion and pay has to be given based on the merit, encourage entrepreneurship. So that these things, and the excessive regulations made by the government, the rigid hierarchy. See, when you start a business, what happens? Suppose if you want to start a small hotel, so then people will then they need to give a bribe for the local person, the local politicians, and the local panchayat or the township, and then you need to apply for several hierarchies. So the rigid hierarchy should be totally, it should be eliminated, right? So when you want to start a business, it should be as simple as that, right? So that is the excessive regulations should not be there, and the rigid hierarchy or the policy should not be kept, and the lack of freedom. See, freedom from doing this, and a lot of constraints. The constraints will also prevent you that is one kind, when you don't have a freedom of doing, then it's one kind of the discourage, right? And excess control, discourage, and these are the things where we need to completely remove or eliminate. Only then we will be get encouraged and promoted. And what are the basic requirements of the entrepreneurs? The entrepreneurs need a keen eye to understand the economics. So economics, so that is the financial aspects. Understand economics. What is the financial aspect that is required for investment, right? And the society, that is the social and scientific realities, and the capacity to understand the evolutionary processes in the future, right? So when you are not understanding, when you are you're not having the capacity to understand the economy, and then whatever the money that you are investing and all those things will become a waste, right? So then we immediately we lead to the failure. And so we should be very careful in understanding the economics and the society, what the social people needs or the society needs, and based upon that we need to create a strategy of ideas to sell your idea, and then to promote your value, and then scientific realities, the capacity to understand the evolutionary process in the future, right? So they need to understand how institutions work and individuals react in order to introduce activities and the product that people's need, and that are sustainable economically and politically, right? So the most important, the tough situation that we face is the political pressures, the political. So that we need to overcome all those economic, and then the entrepreneurs also need dedications and commitments and capacity to overcome failure. So that is what we said earlier, that the dedications, so hard work, the amount of effort that you put, is dedication and commitments. So the effort, more the effort in the right direction, understanding the society and implementing the right strategy principles that lead you to become a successful person. So that will overcome the failures. Right? So entrepreneurs also need dedication, commitments, and the capacity to overcome failures. Right. So entrepreneurship and society. To encourage entrepreneurship, society should tolerate the failure. So that is what. So tolerate the failure in the sense we should not get discouraged by the people. So people are there always waiting in the room. Neither they will allow us to do, and nor they will do. They will become the entrepreneur. So what they will be waiting to tease us. They will be waiting to tease us. Society should tolerate. So they should not become. They should encourage. So right. So and they when failure comes and give people the second chance. That means people around us, sometimes sometimes your relative, sometimes your friends. So all those people, so once you fail, so it's not necessary that always the moment you start the business, the next day you have to get a lot of profit and your business will succeed. So probably the failures are steps to success. That is the mantra. That is a mantra. So when you face failure, then you become more strong. As with a knife becoming more sharp, it has to be subject to various conditions like that, so we should not be demotivated or discouraged from becoming. So that is most important. So encourage entrepreneurs. Society should tolerate our failures, and then they should motivate us. Then only we will not lose our confidence in building the business strategy for to the next level. Obviously, people need to pay for their mistakes, right? So once we fail in that, we need to pay for it. But if the payment is too high, the people will not be done. What is pay for the mistakes? So something we do mistakes, something we commit mistakes. That means we have not studied the market situations correctly. What happens? Then it will lead to failure. So because of that, the amount of the quantity that you have invested for doing that business is high, then it completely we lose it. And then so the people will not be daring not to take risk. So what we have to do, so before taking the risk, we need to analyze the situation. We need to analyze the society and whether it will give us a positive move or the negative move. So like that, right? So that is obviously people need to pay for the mistakes, but we should be very careful. The payment is too high, the people will not be daring to take risk. The effective legal system is essential for positive entrepreneurs. So when the law doesn't permit you, and when you have a very rigid law system, so when you are strongly affected by the political system, as I discussed in the previous slides, so that is the political parameters, and then the regulations, excessive regulations, then there is strong hierarchy, then you don't have the freedom of doing, so all those things, right? So effective legal system is essential for the positive entrepreneurships, right? The main features of the entrepreneurship. What are the main features of the entrepreneurship coming here? Profit chances, right? The chance of profit or level of return that person who is taking a risk and developing an idea into the business venture, right? The actions of the entrepreneurs will likely remain abstract and a paper leisure activity without potential of the profit, right? So what the chances of bringing the profit, the chance of the profit, or the level of return, the quantum of return, right? So the quantum of return who taking this. When you take more risk than when you overcome those risks, then naturally the profit also is high and developing in an area, and that is the profit chances, and then creativity and your strength, the creativity and persuasiveness. There's a need to have the creative capacity for recognizing and pursuing the opportunities and successful entrepreneurship, right? There is a need to have the creative capacity for recognizing and pursuing opportunity in a successful entrepreneurship. So that is more. The creativity and strength coexist with each other. The entrepreneur should possess great selling skills, marketing skills, and be persistent. So that is most important, right? The creativity, strength, that all depends on your ability to market to yourself. Even if you want to get a new job, then you should have an ability to market to yourselves. So that is why, yeah, that is entrepreneurship process, getting selling skills to be persistent. The main feature, and that is the innovation, the new innovations, how innovative you are more, how you are unique from others, how you are unique from others thinking. So that is innovation, right? Uh, the entrepreneurship continuously demands a continuous search for innovative ideas. So you should be very, very updated, and you always must be an active innovator coming out with the newer ideas. So when you come up with the new ideas, what happens? It will sustain in the market for certain period. Even what happens, simple. The very concept is very simple. If you are giving continuously with one type of food, you will get bored. Is it not? So in order to have a interest over the food, you always need a different varieties of food at a different time. And you even see when you see in practical situations, once upon a time, some 30-40 years before, the belts pant came, and then the tights pant, then the baggy pant, and then the jeans pant came, and then and after some decades later, then people started wearing the olden tradition, something like that. So you can keep changing your cycles. So that is the entrepreneur's continuous demands a continuous search for the innovative ideas. So which will sustain only for the limited period. Then later you will have to innovate the new ideas to give a different taste for the people. Only then you can sustain in the market. So that is innovation. The entrepreneur should evaluate the present modes of business operations for developing more efficient and effective system. Right. So in a very simpler definition, it is a continuous effort for optimization of performance in an organization. So how do you optimize your performance? How do you optimize? That means what is meant by optimization? Anything that you do or the effort, it's nothing but you are improving your performance. You are improving on your performance. Continuously you have to concentrate on your performance in order to sustain. So that becomes an innovation, right? So next one is the risk bearing. As we see, entrepreneurs is in himself or herself is a person who is having the highest capacity to tolerate or to face the risk, right? As we define entrepreneurship is willingness to take risks. The individual should arise out of the implementation and creation of creative ideas. They should believe that new ideas take some time to offer results, and their results may not be instantaneous, right? See, practically speaking, there were some pictures in those days. If you have happened to see in the movie Chinnathambi, which is the popular movie acted by the Prabhu and directed by P. Vasu, initially that picture does not become popular. You know, at least it went very rarely. It was moving and it was not liked by the people for at least 30 days. After 30 days, you could see that the picture drastically in some of the places continuously it ran for more than 2 years or 1 year. So that is they should we initially we may not have the that much need that much interest to that. That is what they should believe that new ideas take some time to offer the result, but once it takes the form, then the level is different, right? So that is they should believe that their ideas. Most of the time, we should be very confident in our implementing our ideas and framing our ideas, but it will take some time, right? Even if you start a small venture, a small business, it will take some time for you to give you profit or be established. When you're starting a new shop, in even in your area, even if you sell a product at a lower cost, still the people or the customer, the old customer, have their mental tendency to buy the product in the old shop even if they sell for the higher prices, right? So it will take some time for the people to accept the new shop owner, even though they are offering it for the lower price. So that is why then once it's offered, then immediately you can capture the market. So that is the tactics here. And the next one is the vision. So that is important feature here. The probably one of the biggest responsibility of the entrepreneur is to decide the direction of business. Decide the direction of business. So you should have correct, clear vision. So there is a need to have a proper vision. When your vision is clear, then if a company does have this, they will likely to get lost in the sea. So you should have a proper goal. What is your objective? What is your objective? Whether to strengthen your business, and then whether your product has to become number one in the market, right? So if you are not worried about the initial profit, You're not worried about the initial profit, and you are worried about how your product will sustain it, and you'll have to become the number one producer of this particular product. Actually, that's your vision, and obviously, your vision we will have a profitable vision. That means after some period, then your product also will give you the desired profit. So that is the vision. We very must be very clear about the vision. We should not have an ad hoc visions which, and when your vision is not clear, that will not have the clarity in the path which you are moving, which will naturally lead to the miseries and then lead to the failure of the entrepreneurs. So next one is the excellent business skills. What is business skills? Marketing skills, excellent business skills. So and, the successful entrepreneur always has the ability to set up the internal procedures, systems, and the processes required to operate a company. Right? He or she should focus on sales. You see here, um, most of the time we want to prefer, we will not like the marketing representatives or the sales representatives. We always look into only the product, or we always look into something like that. So it is not that much easy to prepare the product or the invent the product or to manufacture a product unless your product you don't have ability to market your product or sell this, then you will need to figure the 50 percentage or more than 50 percentage of the weightage can be given to marketing. When you fail in the marketing, or when you fail in the marketing and you cannot promote your sales, then obviously even the what dynamic product that you have invented or made, it will become to throw in the dustbin. So that we must always focus on sales, marketing strategy. That is the business tactics. Right? Then only you can look into the revenue and the cash flow for all the time. They always evaluate the current talents and the professional network. What are the advantages of the entrepreneurship? Generally, what is the advantages? So it is not that easy, that much easy to say that it is an entrepreneur, I'll become an entrepreneur. But what are all the effort and the hard work, those things it is obviously required to sustain. Like once you sustain and continuous hard work is there, then naturally, then you will become a successful person and you become an owner, you can become an right. So that is the numerous benefits having an entrepreneurship. It's creation of organization. You can create a number of organizations, sister concerns, right? You can group. Suppose if you're starting an institution or an educational institution, or if you're starting a company, see Infosys, they have started with a small software development division, later worldwide and globally across the globe, and they have led so many organizations, right? So that is why creation of organization. When the entrepreneurs assemble and coordinate the human, physical, and financial resources, the entrepreneurs result in the creation of organization. So it directs them towards achievement of goals through the skills of management. So effective skills, management skills. Right, so the managerial skills is the most essential attribute of an entrepreneur. So when you focus on this, then definitely you have can able to achieve the goals. Improvement in standard of living, right? So your standard is different. Your standard of living, the productive organization results in making a great variety of goods and services for the society that results in a higher standard of living for the people, right? So obviously your standard of living will be improved and you have the productive different. So next are the personality factors. The personal factors such as initiative, yeah, the proactive, say anything before you need to anticipate the problem, anticipate the risk, and then you have to work. You should be very proactive, right? So only then we can able to prevent occurrence of the problem or prevent occurrence of the risks, right? So initiative, anything you should come forward, right? So that is the leadership quality. So the personality factor, the leadership quality itself defines, it has the subset of the initiative, the proactive and the problem solving, then persuasion, perseverance, and the self-confidence have become major competencies. So these are all the major attributes of the managerial or the skilled managerial skills or the major competencies of the entrepreneurship. So when you lack in any of these aspects, definitely we are sure that we will be pulled down and we will not become the successful person. So the environmental factors also it defines about the successful of the business, right? The environment also should support us, right? So when you don't have a proper environment, then definitely then we cannot succeed in that. So some of its examples are a legal system, social conditions, political, climate, economic conditions, and much more. So the environment may plays a major role, right? So another, so what are the advantages of small business is greater opportunity to get rich through stock options. So feel more important, feel more secure, comfortable. So that is small business. So with that we think small and we try to uh, make out more profit. So, right? So that is advantages of small business. So what are the drawbacks of the small business? So sometimes we may lead to lower guaranteed pay, then only a fewer benefits. So when we are taking a lesser risk, what happens? When we take more risk, in our previous slides we have gone through, when we take more risk and we avoid those high risk factors, and probably that lead to the higher guaranteed pay, right? Higher profits, so higher successfulness. So here lower, that is opposite, lower guaranteed pay, fewer benefits, expected to have many skills, right? So too much cohesion is there. Hard to move to a big company. So large fluctuations in income possible, right? So these are some such a small business drawbacks. So obviously, we need to start with a small business. After successful in the small business, probably we can scale up to the larger. That is a good idea for an entrepreneur. So most of the time, we will plan for the greater business that having thinking that we will be making out a greater profit, and we will not work for that, and which may we have lost because of that. So next one. So who are the successful and unsuccessful entrepreneurs? Successful, right? So these are some certain things we can list out as something for the successful people: creative and innovative, right? So they are creative and innovative, position themselves in shifting or new markets. That means, so you understand the current situations of the market and the society and the needs of the people, and then you position according to the situations. When you place yourself, even as a teacher, we are even we are not updating with the latest knowledge, latest thinking, then definitely we cannot succeed in our teaching profession. So similarly, that applies in every field, even an entrepreneur. So you have to position yourself according to the newer situations or the current situations of the needs, and you have to create a new products often. So people will always look into the new products. So how long you will be keeping? So even though your TV is working fine, then and when your neighbor says that I have bought a newer TV which is having a larger screen and which is having the high facility that will having the Bluetooth and then this interact with the internet and everything, and then naturally then people will tend towards that, right? So such new products, creating new products, creating a new processes or the strategy and creating a new delivery. When you are implementing all these aspects, then you are successful. And who is unsuccessful? And poor managers. As I said, that when your managerial skill is high, definitely then you are successful. And when your skills are poor and inability to manage the things and no creativity and then everything manage things, that is unsuccessful. Then low work ethic, you don't follow, you don't have any ethics in your work. Inefficient, failure to planning, no, before executing it we need to plan, right? No, PDCA cycle, the plan, do, check and act. So when you fail on this, then when you fail to plan and prepare, then definitely will be an unsuccessful person. And the poor money managers, they do not know where to invest and where not to invest, right? Simply they invest on unnecessary things and all those things, then they becomes unsuccessful. You should be very careful while investing the money or handling the money, right? So managing the money or the economy. So then when you are balance on these aspects, and you can. And in order to be successful, we also should know what are all the parameters that will affect us in not making an successful person. So we should know all this. That's next. What are the characteristics of the entrepreneurs? So they should have an unique personal attributes, and they should have a strong managerial competencies, and then good technical skills. So technical skills is not always that something you are inventing with the science or something like that. When you have ability to face the society or the social circumstances, so that you call it as an technical skills in aspect of the your entrepreneurs. So you should have a unique attributes, right? So when you have a unique attributes is not in a sensible way, not in the non-sensible way. So that is a key personal attribute. Strong managerial competencies are the stronger skill sets on the manager, right? So, and wherever you required, you need to be soft. Wherever required, you need to be harsh. And that skills, that is a strong managerial competence. It's good technical skills, right? So, when you have these three characteristics, definitely you are sure that you are a successful entrepreneur, right? So, key personal attributes: entrepreneurs are made, not born, right? Not born. Some may say that he's born rich. No. So even if when you are born rich, definitely you will die poor, right? If you are born rich, you will die poor. If you're born poor and you're made rich, then definitely you will die rich. So the same formula applies here. The entrepreneurs are made, not born. So that implies that you should have overcome all the difficulties and in becoming the successful entrepreneur, right? When you are success in that, and definitely you can sustain. Many of these key attributes are developed early in life with a family environment playing an important role. Of course, our guidance is required with the existing environment is more, which will assist us in lifting us very soon becoming the successful entrepreneur. Entrepreneurs tend to have a self-employed parents who tend to support and encourage independence, achievement, and responsibility. So that is obviously the firstborns tends to have more entrepreneurial attributes because they receive more attention, have to forge their own way, thus creating higher self-confidence. Right. So, on entrepreneurial careers, the idea that entrepreneurial success leads to more entrepreneurial activity may explain why many entrepreneurs start multiple companies over the course of their career. Corridor principle: using one business to start or acquire others than the repeating the process. Right. So then these are called as corridor. And serial entrepreneur is a person who owns and operates multiple companies during one career. So that is their career. So various types of the entrepreneurial careers. So need for achievement, right? Achievement, urge or the thirst for achievement, right? The continuous effort. A person desire either for excellence or to succeed in competitive situation. Always think, dream, and you dream in you, and then implement your dream the very next day. You never be, lethargic, or you should not lose your confidence. Keep working, right? So in the right path, that is, and naturally you will achieve. A person desire either for excellence or to succeed in competitive situations always. Right? So high achievers take responsibility for attaining their goals, set moderately difficult goals, and want immediate feedback when performed. Success is measured in terms of what those efforts are accomplished. Right. So this is done by very clearly done by McClelland's research. McClelland, what do you know about McClelland? McClelland's research, something or some points on the McClelland's research show that 86% of the population are dominant in one, two, or three of all the motivations. The subsequent research published in 1977 in Harvard Business Review article, "The Power is a Great Motivator," found that those on top management positions had a high need for power and low need for affiliation. So, his research also found that people with high need for achievement will do best when given projects where they can succeed through their own efforts. Okay, so the power is a great motivator. So when you have the willpower, when you have the that much self encouragement, definitely you can succeed, no, with your own efforts. Although individuals with a strong need for achievements can be successful with lower level management, they are usually weeded out before reaching the top management position. Also, he found that people with a high need of affiliation may not be good top managers, but rarely generally happier and can be highly successful in non-leadership roles such as forgive services. So that he evolved with a new theory called need theory. Need theory, also known as three need theory, proposed by psychologist David McClelland, is motivational model that attempt to explain how the needs for achievements, power, and affiliation. See, need for achievements. This is the need. When you are successful in the need theory, definitely you will become a very good manager and you will be very good successful in the entrepreneur skills. Urge for achieving, urge for power, then urge for affiliation. What is this achievement? Anything you think, anything you think, you need to achieve it, right? Immediately, right? Without failure. That is achievement. The power, right? And you use for it, the effort that you use for it. Affiliation, that means you need a label for yourself uniquely in the market. So that is affiliation, right? So as you have the Tata, Reliance, Infosys, then Wipro, or some other any brand, no, they have their own affiliations, right? So like that. So affiliation affect the actions of people from the managerial context, need for achievement. So we'll see one by one what is the need for achievement. They prefer working on the task of moderately difficult, prefer work in which the results are based on their effort rather than anything else, and prefer to receive feedback on their work. Achievement based on individuals tend to avoid both high risk and low risk situation. That is also possible. Low risk situations are seen as too easy to be avoided, and then high risk situations are seen as based on more luck of situation. This personality type is motivated by accomplishment in the workplace and an employment hierarchy with the promotional positions. So that is the need for achievement and need for affiliation. Need for affiliation, that is that we need a separate unique stamping for us, so which will motivate you. That is a need for affiliation. People who have a need for affiliation prefer to spend time creating and maintaining social relationships, enjoy being a part of groups, and have a desire to feel loved and accepted. People in this group tend to adhere to the norms of the culture in that workplace and typically do not change the norms of the workplace for fear of rejection. This person favors collaborations over competition and does not like situations with high risk or high uncertainty. The people who have a need for affiliation work well in the areas based on social interactions like customer service or client interactions position. Next, need for the power. The power, people in this category enjoy work and workplace high value in the discipline, right? So the downside to this motivational type is that group goals can become zero sum in nature. That is, for one person to win, another must lose. However, this will can be positively applied to help accomplish groups goals and to help others in group feel competent about their work. The person motivated by this need enjoy status recognition, winning arguments. You know, so when you urge for the power, when you think that you have more power, you are superior and you have the high capacity in the power. Definitely needs enjoy status recognition, winning arguments, competitions, and you have your own policies for influencing others. With this motivational type comes a need for personal prestige and the constant need for a better personal status. Next, the attribute is desire for independence, right? Swatantra, a desire for independence, being independent, right? You don't have any constraints. No one is can control you. Entrepreneurs often seek independence from others.
Excuse me, sir.
This is yes,
Sir,
Satish.
sir,
Yes,
your
Satish.
screen is not visible, sir.
Okay, okay. I think there
Stop
should be
sharing,
some
sir.
problem. Yeah, I will stop sharing. Uh, can I present it now?
No, sir, it is not
Is it
visible. Sir.
now?
Now it is. Now it is visible, sir. Yes.
Yeah,
Go
okay.
on, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Desire for independence. Entrepreneurs often seek independence from others. You should not be constrained or tied up with others, and you should have an independence, freedom for doing. Right? They will have. As a result, they are not motivated to perform well in large bureaucratic organizations. Entrepreneurs have internal drive or internal fire and drive before they are confident in their own abilities and possesses a great deal of self-respect. So that is they desire for the independence. Self-confidence is a very important parameter which greatly affects in successful entrepreneur. That is no because of the high risk involved in running an entrepreneurial organization. Having an upbeat and self-confident attitude is essential. Whereas when you lose your confidence, definitely you cannot succeed, right? So that is the uh, self-confidence. The successful track record leads to improved self-confidence and self-esteem. Self-confidence enables that person to be optimistic in representing the firm to employees and customers alike. That is one of the most uh, key attribute. Self-sacrifice, the another thing, the essential. You need to sacrifice, right? You need to sacrifice, compromise on things, compromise on everything, other things, and family, everything like that. So then only you can become. When you concentrate on one thing, you need to sacrifice on other things. Only then you can become popular in one area. Essential. Nothing worth having is free. Success has high price, and entrepreneurs have to be willing to sacrifice certain things. Right? Then technical proficiency. Right? Technical proficiency, as discussed earlier, as I said earlier, competency or the how you face the situation, society is most important, plays a vital role. Many entrepreneurs demonstrate strong technical skills, typically bringing some related experiences to their business ventures. When you have good experiences, uh, then it will be easy for you to become a successful person. Okay? For example, a successful car dealer usually have a lot of technical knowledge about selling and servicing automobiles before opening a dealership. Right? Similarly, in all aspects, especially important in the computer industry, not always necessary. So, technical proficiency plays a important role or the vital role in becoming the successful entrepreneur. Well, planning is, as I said, that PD is a cycle. PD is a cycle. PD is a plan, do, check, and act. Right. In that, which comes the first, the plan. Right. So the business plan is most important thing before you execute business which will have an successful outcome. Right? Business plan, a step-by-step outline of how an entrepreneur or the owner of an enterprise expects to turn ideas into reality. Right? So the questions to keep in mind: what are my motivations for running a business? Should I start or buy a business? Start a business or buy a business? What and where is the market for what I want to sell? How much will all this cost me? Should my company be domestic or global? So, certain questions which you should have in your mind, which will initiate your in uh, bringing in developing your entrepreneurship skills, right? So, they should always fire your mind, fire your mind. Motivations. Deciding on what your motivations are will direct you toward what type of business fits you the best, right? So, based upon their motivation, right? So that will tell you what type of business that will be best. fit for you. So then we can classify them lifestyle venture, smaller profit venture, high growth venture, like that. So, so lifestyle venture is a small company that provides its owner independence, autonomy, and control. Is often run out of household, provides flexibility, hours, meeting places, artery, aligns your personal interest and hobbies with your desire to make a profit is a lifestyle venture type, and a small profit venture and who is not concentrated on pushing the envelope and growing inordinately large, making millions of dollars not important, content with making a decent living. So this is a kind of things is a smaller profit venture and high growth ventures. Obviously, it's you have a very big goal which will make you a maximum profit and you have a rapid and enormous growth concentrate on pushing the envelope and growing as large as possible and always keep focus yourself on innovations and the market strategy and the social needs that will take you to the high growth ventures. Start up by start cheapest but very difficult, right? Requires most planning and research, right? You can start your own business based upon your capacity, right? But you should invest a lot of planning and then invest your knowledge. Whether starting a new business may lead to a failure or you will become a success by buying a business that is already existing. It is too expensive because already the people who sustained and who got a name in the market when you are trying to buy it will be more expensive, maybe out or reach. Require less planning and research because it's already in the existential thing. You need not have to invest your um, uh, research on that in organizing because it is a well organized one. That is right. So franchise something it is between buying and starting, right? It is a middle ground. Already some person has started and then just you own his ideas and you take a franchise, run the business, take a smaller profit, give the bigger profit to a portion of profit to the main uh, that is a business run by an individual to whom the franchise grants the right to market a certain goods or services. So these are the various strategies. The market planning and research essential. Extensive market surveys, family, through friends or the neighbors, and the magazines and polls offer some information on the market. So, like, so need to have a study about the market strategies. So, what about the cost? Plan realistically, not optimistically. Don't overestimate your profits. Don't underestimate your cost. Right. So you should not be very balanced on making the profit and making your cost or estimating the cost for selling your product. So that is you need to have a realistic plan, right? Source of funds you can get it from the banks or from the capitalist, right? So like this, these are all some of the sources of the funds that you can capture for about the cost, domestic or global. Drawbacks to the global. Drawbacks will be more research and less accessible connections in startup is more travel time is required, more consideration, and then more investment on money. Some advantages to the global, then you know that once you market your product globally, then it gives you more profit, more human resources, more demand, more financing. Easier to start global than go from the domestic to global. So growth pressures on entrepreneurship. So entrepreneurs often find that as their business grows, they feel more pressure to use formal methods to lead their organization. So although this formalization process may compromise some entrepreneurs' spirit, it often leads to more focused organizations and great financial returns. Basically, it's a moment from a set of the pants operation to a more structured, legitimate, and recognizable business. So this is the growth pressures, and know that You have various dimensions of the business strategy: orientation, commitment to opportunity, commitment to resources, control of resources, management structure, compensation policy. So these are the six dimensions we need to compensate and to work, right? So you have to concentrate on the strategic orientation and the opportunities, and then resources and controlling of resources, and structuring the management policies and compensatory policies, right? So these are the six difficult business dimensions. Business dimensions, and this is business dimensions. The table shows you the business dimension and entrepreneurial organization and formal organizations. Strategic orientation, commitment to opportunity, commitment to resources, control of resources, management structure, compensation policy. An entrepreneurial organization seeks opportunity, revolutionary short duration, lack of stable needs and resources basis. Here, the lack of commitment to permanent ventures, flat, many informal networks, unlimited based on teams' accomplishment. So, informal organization control resources. It has an evolutionary long duration, systematic planning system, powers, status, financial rewards for maintaining status quo, clearly defined authority and responsibility, short-term driven, limited by investors. And coming to the innovations, once again talking about the innovations, that is their new ways to achieve their task, which will eventually lead to a successful entrepreneur and a profit making business. Types of innovations may be mechanical, chemical, biological, managerial, like APM, extra paperwork, and overtime, institutional, what resource associations, patents, banks, stock markets, conservative, strict monks. So it is useful to distinguish between the process innovation and the product innovations. Right? So the process innovation that is refined and developed before applying. Innovation may be inspired by reality. So what actually the needs, based upon that the innovations may be inspired and it can be implemented. The innovation process which leads to successful technology, which involves research, development, production, marketing, and use. So these are all various processes that is involved in the innovating the product. The experience with the product results and feedback and leads to improved innovations. So various types of innovations here. That some examples. This key element of environmental policies. Research enables discovery of basic environmental problems. Without research, not much would have been known about a link between smoking and cancer. Research provides better monitoring and management equipment to help identify environment problems and monitor response. Public research enables sustaining development of technologies that cannot be economic under existing prices. So create three distinct career paths for innovators. One is breakthrough innovation consists of three phases. One is discovery phase, incubation phase, and acceleration phase. Discovery phase is nothing but creating or identifying high impact market opportunities. Incubation, experimenting with technology and business concepts to design a viable model for a new business. And acceleration, developing the business until it can stand on its own. So these are the three distinct career paths for the innovators and to become the sustainable in the market. So with these few slides, I would like to stop my presentation here. Probably a lot more are there for discussing due to the time constraints. I'm stopping it here. So audience, please, any questions you can ask me, or
Audience, if there is any question you can ask to sir. I think there is no question, sir.
Thank you all. Thank you all for listening.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much for the beautiful presentation. At least now participants would have got some idea about what is an entrepreneurship. So what are the difficulties that you face when you want to become an entrepreneur? So thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much for accepting the invite and giving us this beautiful lecture. Participants,
Thank you very much. Thank you, sir.
participants, participants, you will get the link for the certificate. So once you submit fill the form and then submit it, and you will get the certificate in 1 week time. So I'll post the link in the chat box. Participants, hope you got the link. So please fill the link and give your valuable feedback. Once you fill the feedback, so you will get the CE certificate in 1 week time.
Thank you, Mr. Satish Kumar, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Umesh, sir. Thank you. I once again thank all participants for participating in this workshop. So please fill the feedback form. You will get your e-certificate in 1 week time to your registered mail ID. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.